I love like the rinky dink trade show strategy
Oh
because I
man.
think everyone wants to go to these like big, flashy Las Vegas, whatever trade shows. And like they're such a scene. I did them for Lattice and HR people. But yeah, the
Yeah.
little ones are like where the like, I don't know, the value is where you can kind of mine for gold and like, not where all your competition is going. So it's a really good strategy.
I agree. And look, like the company I'm at now, Entrata, they do events better than anyone I've ever seen, and they did before I got here as well. And they have massive booths and everything. But what's funny is we were just going through some of our trade show strategy recently, and they're like, "Hey, some of these little rinky-dink shows still matter for us." And I'm like, "It's not surprising. Like
Yeah.
you can go generate a pretty good ROI off of something that no one really wants to do, but it actually works relatively well."
Yeah, I love it. Did you ever experiment with direct mail? Because I feel like that would, play well with the SMB market and kind of this outbound strategy you're running.
We did experiment with direct mail. We would do a lot of flyers, particularly around new product announcements too. So if we launched a new product or new feature, we'd send them to existing customers. We would also do direct mail really targeted towards a specific vertical. And what's interesting about direct mail is it's similar to like SiriusXM or podcast ads. Like you can go to, doc.us/SiriusXM on that mailer or in that ad, and you're going to get like 20 people that go there. But what you start seeing is in your organic traffic or your direct traffic, you'll start to see these trends that you really can't attribute back really perfectly. And that's kind of how we ran direct mail. That's how we ran some of these other channels. Is like, hey, you're just kind of like going with, we're 70% confident here, but every time we turn it off, we see a dip. Every time we turn it on, we see it climb.
Yeah, same experience we had at Lattice. We would try and do, billboards and these like big multi-channel campaigns and
Yep.
different, and then we would sort of do it in these different cities, and then you could just see the lift on the website, and you could see the lift in the leads and different things like that. And it's hard to attribute a billboard, but you sort of knew like, where's all this coming from? It's coming from this multi-channel strategy. So yeah,
You
I don't
know,
know.
you know
It's
what's so
hard.
funny though is I've talked to some performance marketers, here at Podium, other places, and you'll say, "Hey, like you just have to trust this process a little bit. I promise it works." They're like, "Yeah, but they're so quantitative." Some of them, they're like, "Hey, look, like I can't see the direct tie. I'm not going to put money there." And so it's funny that you saw that because I've actually witnessed more, or I've experienced more people are uncomfortable with that than not.
Yeah, no, and I think it comes from CEOs and CFOs. Like there's a mindset and people think like, oh, everything's perfectly attributable on the internet. And there's a whole generation of marketers. And like, yeah, a lot of it is,
Yeah,
but only like really digital ads and email marketing. And then like the rest of it is, more traditional marketing.
yeah,
And that stuff works really well too. So yeah, you got to take a
I
leap of
totally
faith. And we
agree.
found the stuff where we took a leap of faith, like performed better. It was way less transactional. There was way more like leverage in the marketing spend. And it was things that like helped everything across the funnel, not just like getting one, shitty Google ads
Yeah,
lead.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. What on this topic, like, so you invested a pretty good amount, I think, into radio and podcast ads, right? Like, so you're pretty confident, like they worked. And I guess, yeah, I don't know. What was your strategy behind that?
Yeah, they did. Podcast ads, we were far more targeted with. So there are a bunch of niche podcasts that have like, I don't know, maybe a couple thousand followers max, maybe even in the hundreds sometimes. And it might be a dental podcast or whatever it may be. And we would go to them and just be like, hey, we'll just give you like $1,000. Like if you'll let us sponsor all of your ads for the next month. They'd be like, great, perfect. This is our side gig. So we'll do that all day. So on the podcast side, we were much more targeted. Like we weren't going after the smart lists of the world or Bill Simmons. Like those cost, quite a bit of money. And we just weren't comfortable with that. So we went far more targeted. On SiriusXM, we did find kind of our stations that worked really well. They were the stations you wouldn't expect. Sometimes it was like conservative talk radio, and it worked really, really well. And that was one of those things where we'd throw up a landing page with like / whatever, and we'd get like 10 leads from it, but it would have run for like 3 months. But we'd look at the traffic, and my head of revenue marketing, who's with me at Entrata now, he would be like, trust me, it's working. I can't tell you exactly how much we're getting, but it's working. And we just did that over and over and over again and took the leap of faith initially, and it ended up working out.